And I'd like to welcome you all to our Thursday 1:30 p.m. session with Annie once again from Cyber Seniors, where today she will be doing a session on Google Sheets on mobile devices. So last month, Annie covered Google Docs. Now we are going to be talking about Google Sheets, and I really look forward to the session today. Make sure you stay on for the poll at the end, everyone, so you can let us know how you felt about the session today, and I will be your tech support for today. But Annie, if you could introduce yourself and your topic, thank you so much for coming on, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you everybody for being here today. So my name is Annie, and I work for a nonprofit organization called Cyber Seniors. So the name is at the very top of my face. We help people like you with the use of technology and electronic devices. And today we are going to continue with applications from the Google Suite universe, and we are gonna cover Google Sheets. So I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can see, and I imagine that everybody can see at this point this
Yep, you're good
screen,
to go.
Alex. Okay, perfect. So the topic for today is gonna be Google Sheets. As we mentioned earlier, if you have a question or know the answer to a question from the ones we have in the presentation, feel free to type them in the chat. If you have a brief answer, you can also mute and answer the question. Just remember to mute after you say your piece, right? Okay, so here's the disclaimer. Presentation, the presentations that we do serve has to educate and should not replace professional judgment. The opinions and facts shared belong to the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cyber Seniors unless stated otherwise. Cyber Seniors does not endorse the content provided and is not responsible for its accuracy or completeness. Please note that the sessions are also recorded in audio and video formats and may be shared through different media platforms without further notice. All right, with the disclaimer out of the way, I would like to start with this question. This is not a question you should answer. It's more so you know the topic we are going to cover. So what is Google Sheets? So Google Sheets is a free program that creates spreadsheets. What is this? This is a digital application that stores and organizes data using a table, similar to what you see on the right side. It is the most or one of the most similar applications in comparison to Excel, which is the sheets for Microsoft, the Microsoft universe. Essentially, this is another platform commonly used to create spreadsheets, and they can be created for multiple purposes. So for instance, here in the right side, we have that this is a spreadsheet for monthly sales summary. So this is somebody who sells cars apparently, and they are just recording the commission, how much the car was, and so on and so forth. Okay, now, how you can use Google Sheets, or how is Google Sheets helpful for you? So if you manage money and want to track your expenses and monitor your savings, this is a good platform to do so. Also, if you want to record medications, dosages, schedules, and appointments to ensure accurate and timely management, this is an application that can help you for this purpose as well. If you are a person who would like to plan your weekly meals and create a grocery list, you can find different templates in the application that can help you with this. Likewise, if you want to organize or are a person who like to organize gatherings and events with different tasks, a list of guests and schedules, you can use Google Sheets. As well, keeping updated contact information, including phone numbers of people and addresses that you might want to have organized or consider relevant. And likewise, to log activities and materials used in your hobby. So if you are somebody who paint, you can input information about what do you need to do a painting, what kind of materials are you going to be using? And that is just some of the uses that you can apply to Google Sheets. When it comes to the benefits of using Google Sheets, the first one we have here on the left side is the ability to work with others in real time. You can view and monitor the activity of other editors on your Google Sheets, meaning you can be the creator, but other people can see it simultaneously and collaborate with you in that document. It is a free application. Unlike Excel, Google Sheets features are free. You do not need to have a paid subscription to be able to access all the functions of the application. And lastly, here on the right side, you have automatic syncing. What it means is that the information is easy to transfer across other Google products. If you have already a Gmail application, Google Sheets is likely an application you can access very easily. When it comes to the cons of using Google Sheets, it is considered less efficient than Excel, although Google Sheets is much easier to use than Excel if you are working with larger number of information. It's gonna be falling short because Google Sheets is very simplified. It supports less file types. So if we compare to Microsoft Excel, that supports around 20 type of files, Google Sheets only support 6 type of files. This kind of relates to what we just said previously. If you are a person who is intending to use this application because you have a lot of data to organize and you want different options to organize that data, this might not be the best option for you. If you want this application for more simplified things, this might be a good option for you because you don't need to pay for it and you will have just the sufficient amount of features to use it. And the last one is related to the previous two. It has less features than Excel, so it's not as advanced and professional as Microsoft Excel yet. If you want something simple, easy to use, less complicated, Google Sheets is a good option. How do you download Google Sheets? And here is a typo, which I apologize for, but essentially you will go to your app store. This can be different if you use an Android. So if you use an Android, it will be the Google Play Store. If you use an Apple iPhone, iPad, it will be the App Store. So you will go to the App Store of your electronic device, and then you will use your search function to write down Google Sheets in the search bar, and then you will likely see a get button and will have to follow the instructions on the screen to be able to use it. Now,
I put the link to the app in the chat for everyone as well.
Sounds good. So now here comes the questions, and this goes a little bit outside of the scope of the Google Sheets topic, but I want to address some of these things because sometimes when people are installing application, they don't know what is the button they need to use. So we are going to do this reminder for this. I will ask anybody who knows the answer, what is the meaning of this symbol right here, the get symbol? If you know what is the meaning of, you can type it in the chat. You can quickly unmute yourself and let me know.
It allows you to download the app.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wilda. Anybody else? It allows us to download the app. Okay. Any other takers before I move? Okay. Okay. Okay, so the get button is exactly what I believe Wilda, sorry. It allows you to install the application. So Apple used to label apps that were free to download as free and show prices for all other apps. But since November 2014, it changed the label from free to get, meaning free apps will have the get button instead of free. But if you use an Android device, it will say install instead of get, right? Keep in mind that free application can include in-app purchases. Now, if you don't know what these are, it's the ability for you to purchase additional content or features within the application on your mobile device or your computer. So you can use the application for free, but there might be features that are not available for you as a free user. But if you want to purchase those features, you can purchase in-app functions. That's what it means. I hope that makes sense. All right. So what is the meaning of this one right here? The open instead of get. Anybody? Open
You can
instead of
unmute
get.
yourself and share. We got about 30 folks in the call. I'd love to hear a lot of voices.
Yes. You can also type it in the chat. If that is easier for you, you can type it in the chat as well.
It means, excuse me, it
It's
means
okay.
that you can start using the app.
Yes, that is a very good answer. So let's see, because there is two sides to that, but that is a very good answer. All right. If you see this button beside the name of an application when browsing the App Store, right, to look for application, it means you already have that application. And tapping has, the person who just talked that I didn't catch the name, just said tapping over the option open will show the application. Now, if you see open after hitting get, so you hit get first, and after you see open, it means that the application has been already installed, a shortcut was created in the home page, and therefore when you click in open, you can continue setting up the application. Essentially, it will be ready to use, right? I hope that makes sense. All right, what about this one right here? Update. So we saw get, open, and now we have update. So if you go to the App Store and you are trying to install an application and you catch up this update, what does this mean? Any takers?
You want a more recent version.
Yes, thank you, Yvonne. Yes, that is a very good answer. That is a correct answer. So if you see this button beside the name of an application when browsing the App Store, and this applies not only for the App Store, but for the Google Play Store, it means that a new version of the application that is already installed on your device is available, meaning there is better things for that application and even security things that are available. These updates often bring new features and correct security issues for your applications. Sometimes it will happen to you that your application just start acting funny. Go to the App Store and see if there is an update that needs to be taking place or taken to action so you can correct that problem. So therefore, don't be afraid of tapping over this update option as it has benefits to the applications you already have installed in your device. All right, let's see if you guys know this one. So we have seen get, open, update, and now we have the cloud with the arrow pointing down. And just a reminder that we are here because we need to install Google Sheets if we don't have it. And some of these things are things that you may encounter when you are in the App Store about to install Google Sheets. So that's why we are reviewing this. So anybody knows what this cloud means? No? Okay.
Does that mean
We talked about it yesterday.
You can download it?
You can download it. Close enough. So here's the answer. If you are in the App Store and you are browsing applications, and you will see that one of the applications you are browsing has this cloud, it signifies that the app is one you already own, but at some point you will install that application. However, even when that application was uninstalled from your device, it is safe or stored in the cloud system, right? Any app with the cloud icon next to it can be downloaded again for free in your device from the cloud instead of from the App Store. That's what it means. Once you acquire an application using your Apple ID, you own that application permanently. Even though you could install the application, the information of that application will be removed from the physical device, but will still be available in the cloud. All right, what about this one? This one should be straightforward, easy. Everybody should know what this means. Because we are all afraid of this, the price tag. Anybody?
There's a cost.
Yes, that is a cost of that application, meaning if you were to click there, likely you will have to pay that. And this apply again to the Google Play Store. When you use the App Store of your electronic device, you will see the word get if the application is free. However, if an application has a price tag next to the name, it shows how much you will pay to download it in your device. And this is the moment when, if you have a credit card input in your device, the payment is gonna go through because you tap in the price, accepting that you want to install even when the application has a price tag.
So if the application has get, you don't have to worry about whether or not it's free. It is free.
Yes, exactly. If it says get, you don't have to pay for it, right?
Okay, okay.
However, if instead of get, you see the price, that's when the debit of that amount is gonna be or can be debited in your credit card. From your credit card.
Okay, okay,
Okay. Thank you for double checking, Ms. Geraldine.
okay.
Alrighty. Now that we have clarified the different things that you can encounter when you go to the App Store, when you are about to install Google Sheets, say that you already installed the application. Now, in order for you to be able to use Google Sheets, whether it's on your iOS device, when I say iOS, it's iPhone, iPad, iPod, or Android, you will need a Google account. What is a Google account? Essentially an email that ends in @gmail.com, right? If you have a gmail.com email, you already can access Google Sheets very easily. And you just sign up or sign in with your credentials and you can access the application. Once you are signed in with that Gmail account, your work and previous Google Sheets will appear. So you can also relate to this with the Google Drive, which allow you to access different parts. And we are gonna talk about this a little bit more. Okay, why should you also get Google Drive in partnership, say partnership to use the term, with Google Sheets? Or has anybody used Google Drive before? Okay, so here are some reasons why you should have Google Sheets and Google Drive in your device. Being the first, the ability to create and edit files in Google Drive without switching between applications. When you are in the Google Drive, you can access Google Sheets, Google Documents, Google Slides. Those three are the most common type of documents you can access, and they will be in Google Drive. Whereas if you use Google Sheet, Google Docs, Google Slides separately, you will have to have an application for each of them. But Google Drive allows to use all these three applications I just have mentioned in one place. The ability to collaborate easily with people. You can share the files and work on the things that you care sharing in real time. Whenever you have a list of your documents, you can select who you want to share by using their email. The saving is automatic. Unlike the old days, you don't have to worry about clicking save because everything you do, soon as you have internet connection or the document is offline, it's gonna be saved on your file. You don't need to worry about losing any data because it's gonna be saving as you edit the document. You can access these documents anywhere from your Google Drive. You can be in your computer, you can be in your tablet, you can be in your smartphone. Soon as you are signed in with the same account, you can see the same information in the 3 devices anywhere you are, soon as you have an internet connection. There is something called version history. You can see all the changes that have been made in a document. And if you want to go back to a previous version, you can restore that version. Say that you make a mistake and you want to restore, you can do that by using the version history. Something nice for those of us who don't like to pay extra unless we actually need to, is the 15 gigabytes of free storage that you have in Google Drive, meaning you can store different type of documents, whether it's docs, sheets, and Google Slides, up to 15 gigabytes. After that, you likely have to pay for a plan, but I don't think, it is unlikely that you are gonna get over this that fast. Similar to what we said about collaboration, you have file sharing. So you can allow people to either view your documents or edit your document. The difference between viewing and editing is that if you select a person to view your document, they won't be able to do any modifications to that document. If you give them the ability to edit your document, they can edit something at the same time you are editing, or change something you have done to that document if that needs to happen. You also can use the search function. So once you start populating your Google Sheets, you can type the name of the document and it will show you that document. So it's easy for you to find it. You can use the name, type of document, or even the content in that document. As soon as you type it in the search bar, it will come up with different results for you. And lastly here, organizational tools. So you can use folders within the Google Drive to organize your different documents. And that makes them accessible, easy to reach. So for example, if you have documents, say for taxes, you can put a folder named taxes, and everything related with that document, whether it's Google Sheets or Google Docs, you can put in that folder called taxes. Okay, now if you don't have a Google account and you would like to create one, here's how you do it. So you will have to go to accounts.google.com. And when you go to accounts.google.com, it will give you the option to either sign in. If you already have an existing account, you just need to input that. However, if you don't have an account, you will have to hit the option create account. Once you click in that, it will give you options to continue, such as these ones right here. You have to decide the purpose of your account. Is it for your personal use or is it for work or business? Enter a first and last name. You can choose how this look like. It doesn't have to be your exact first name and last name if you want to keep some privacy. Sometimes I will use initials of my name and last name, and that will be sufficient. It's really up to you. And likely fill in the following set of details, such as your basic information, date of birth, and gender as well. If you want to know why Google or how Google use that information, you can click in why we ask for birthday and gender, and after you will hit next. This is just an overview for those of you who may not have a Google account but want to create one. Continue with the process, then you will be choosing an option to either use an existing email. What this means is, even though you are creating a Google account, if you have an existing email from other servers, such as Outlook, Yahoo, AOL, you can use that, and it will habilitate that email just for the sake of being able to use Google Drive. It won't be useful for anything else other than using Google Drive meaning you won't be able to receive emails in there, but it's something that you can do, not to have another email, but to be able to use Google Sheets, the application. And lastly, if you are doing this, you can just hit next and continue with the prompts on the screen. Okay, once you complete the previous process successfully, then you will have a full Google account to access Sheets, Drive, Calendar, and much more. There is plenty of applications you can access with a Google account. Though I know what some of you may be thinking, Google is so invasive. Yes, but you can decide what kind of information Google uses from you, and you can try to stay as safe as possible and private as possible with some of the privacy features they offer for people. I mentioned the storage. So here we are talking again about the 15 gigabytes of free drive storage, meaning you have plenty of space to create documents and, test out Google Sheets. Using a Gmail account makes accessing Google Sheets easier. The options vary from viewing documents to collaborating on these documents, as well as marking the documents as available offline for later use in case you don't have access to the internet. Now, for those of you who wonder what offline in Google Sheets mean, it's essentially your ability to view and edit your spreadsheets documents without an internet connection by enabling offline access in the Google Sheets application. You can do this by opening the app settings, and you can select make recent files available offline. What happens is, once you select a file offline, if you go to a place that doesn't have an internet connection, you can still working on that files. And when you go back to a place that has internet, everything that you did when offline will be safe when you are online. But it just so happened that the offline allow you to work on a document even when you don't have internet. If you don't use offline, what it happens is that when you are trying to use that document that you have not marked as offline, it will tell you that you don't have an internet connection. That is why we use offline or activate the offline mode for some documents to be able to work on them when we don't have internet. Okay. If your Google Sheet is populated with data despite you just starting to use the application, there are reasons why that happens. So in this case, I hope that you can see my screen on the right side. I just got Google Sheets, but I just saw that I have 3 documents already, but I just got the application. How did that happen? Well, the reasons are, you might have chosen a template with a sample data that is related to Google Sheets before, and you didn't even realize it was. You also could have been using sample data. Some templates include sample data to help you start with the use of the application. Also, some share files, if you receive them, for example, via email, and they are Google Sheets kind of file, and you open that, that will be stored after you try to use the application. Previous versions, if you open a previously edited file by somebody else, it might have existing data, and therefore it will show up in your Google Sheets. And sometimes we'll do something called accidental import. You could have been importing data from another source in your electronic device by mistake, and that source just so happened to be related to Google Sheets. And lastly, browser extensions. So some add-ons in the browser that we use may automatically add data to your files from Google Sheets. So those are potential reasons why your Google Sheets document or application, will be populated even if you just start using the application. Okay, so here are the tools to get you started on Google Sheets. So for instance, if you want to create a spreadsheets easily, you can use, much like we talk in Google Docs, something is called templates. These are preset designs offered by the application for free. Some of the options you have here are to-do lists, calendar, planners, monthly budget, right? Wedding planner, team roster, travel planner, a schedule. You have quite a few here. So these are things that are already made in the application. You can just select them and you can modify accordingly to your needs. If you are somebody who loves visuals, you can add illustrations or pictures. Similar to what we saw here, we are in the drawing mode. So you are able to use arrows, like geometrics figures to insert into your Google Sheets. And you can do this by either selecting drawing or insert pictures directly from your device. If you have some that are safe and you want to use, you can do this using this option. Another good thing about the use of Google Sheets, if you are somebody who like graphs, you can represent the data you have compiled in your spreadsheet in a graph, right? So for example, this is one of the ways the person has made this graph possible. Is apparently the prices of an item per year. So they have how much the price has been increasing from 2014 to 2017. So that is a nice way to see information. Okay. And now we are gonna learn Google Sheets' most common buttons and functions by guessing why each icon and area, what each icon and area does. So you can now type in the chat if you want to answer. So this is easier, straightforward, similar to what we saw in Google Docs last month. Okay, so what is this for? Anybody? Any takers? What is this for? If you see this, yeah.
Is it to look for information?
It is to look for the information. Yes. Yes, Miss Anne, that is what it's for. So if you use the search in Sheets, what it does is that it allows you to look for files created on the Sheets application. This will be useful when your Google Sheets is much more populated with files and you want to find specific ones quickly, right? You can type the name of the document in the option search in Sheets, okay? Who knows what is this for?
Menu.
Menu, yes. Is that Miss Wilda?
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Wilda. Okay, yes. So when you see the three horizontal lines located usually at the top left corner of the Google Sheets application, if you are using a mobile device, you can see the menu. The menu has a variety of options, starting from recent, which is all the documents you have been operating recently, categorized in the order that they were opened last. And the options go beyond recent and it ends with help and feedback, which allow you to know more about the use of Google Sheets. Okay, what is this for?
Adding a new sheet.
Adding a new sheet, yes. I like when you guys participate, yes. So the plus sign, which is normally at the bottom right corner of the Google Sheets, if you are using a mobile device, such as your tablet and a smartphone, allow users to create a new sheet, as Miss Wilda said. I believe it was Miss Wilda. And you can create a new sheet by using a choose template, meaning a template that is already created, or by creating a blank like a blank document, meaning no information will be here. In this one, likely you will have some sort of guideline in terms of the information. Okay, what is this function for? I just said it.
Choosing a template.
Yeah, choosing a template. So we went over the templates, right? So let's go back to the templates. Here they are. So when you select choosing a template, you will be able to select from any of these just to create something for you. So say that you go to monthly budget. There is already a frame of work for you, and you can just modify to your particular needs. But it has already formulas, it has already text that you can just modify. All right. And just going back to what I said, templates are just a master copy that you can use as a starting point for new documents. When you are signing to your Google account, you can access your templates from the Google Sheets application on your mobile device, and it will look something like this if we will make it bigger. What is this option for? I just said that too. See if you guys remember. New spreadsheet. Okay. So a new spreadsheet is a blank document you work on and edit from then on, meaning there won't be any information on that document whatsoever. All right. So can anybody tell me what are the following steps if you see this prompt on the screen while using Google Sheets? So if you see this on the screen, what else do you need to do? Say that you want to change the name. So what do you do to change the name of this?
Treatment. You type in the name.
You type the name. And what else?
For the holiday weekend.
And save it.
You say
Yes.
you create a new document.
Yes, yes, perfect. So you can name this as you want. Likely when you select this option, you know, the keyboard is gonna show up and you can use the key that has that little X inside that triangle to delete what is in here, type the name of the document, and then to continue, you hit create, meaning you have given that spreadsheet a name of your chosen. Can be phone book, it can be my budget, it can be tracking my medication, it can be anything that you want. Okay. Once you have given your spreadsheet a name and want to start inputting information into the sheet file, where should you click to start editing? So you have this now because you already create that new template, right? This is a new blank sheet. You have it in front of you. How do you start using it? Anybody?
Three lines at the bottom on the left-hand side.
No.
How
But,
about you click into number one?
You can click anywhere really. It just
Okay.
depends on when and how you want to input your information. But let's
Right.
go over some things that you see here. So if you were to click on these three lines, much like the three lines we were talking, lines will show the different tabs that you have in a document. Right now, I only have a tab. So if I tap in this, it's gonna show me only sheet 1. But if I have sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, when I click here, it will show the list of all of them and I can choose whether I want to be in sheet 1 or sheet 4. I can choose from here. These options that I have at the top, so this is the name. This is to go back and to redo. This is to collaborate with people. Whenever you see the profile icon with a plus sign, it allows you to share the document. This is the type of actions that you do in your document. if you want to comment, right? Or if there were comments made by other person you are collaborating with in this document, you can do it from here. And your menus will be here in the three dots. If you don't see anything else, and perhaps you need to get something done, but it's not in any of the options you have, you can use the three dots. Okay. Now, when you are using this in a mobile device, when you are using Google Sheets in a mobile device, you're using gestures, meaning you have to interact with the screen by using your fingers. The gestures that you will use are the following. So if you tap to the screen, say that I tap here, I'm selecting a cell. Now, if you don't know what a cell is, bear with me. I will explain what it is in just a minute. That is to select a cell. If you double tap the screen, it will edit the cell you just select. Double tap as opposed to a tap. And if you pinch the screen, it will zoom in and zoom out. Pinching is what you see here. You will press 2 fingers on the screen and start moving them apart or together, right? To see the information bigger. Now, when it comes to the terms used in Google Sheets, and some of these may not have sense for you at all, but hopefully you will review them later. You have cell. So cell is the intersection of a row and a column. So intersection of a row and a column. So for example, here, if I were to stand by number 1, so my cell is E1, right? If I were to stand here is B1. If I were to stand right here is column C and row 3. So that is what a cell is. It's the intersection between a column and a row. I think that is a little bit confusing, but I hope it makes sense. When it comes to row, so the rows are horizontal lines of the cell, and they are identified by numbers. So what are the rows here? These ones, right? All these are rows. Row 1, row 2, row 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. You have column. So the column, unlike the row, is vertical lines of cells, and they are identified by letters. So my rows are identified by the number. My column is identified by a letter. A, B, C, D, F. And that is what I was referring before about cell. So cell is the intersection between the column and the row. So whenever you stand in a cell, it will tell you are in cell A1, right? Depending on what you are pressing or what you have selected at the moment. What is a workbook? The workbook is essentially the entire Google Sheets file that can contain multiple sheets. So I'm going back to this again. So this is my workbook, right? However, in a workbook, you can have multiple files, and these files would be called tab. So if I were to create sheet 2, that would be a second tab, but it's all part of one workbook because I have them all there. And you can have multiple tabs in one workbook. What is a formula? A formula is a mathematical expression used to perform calculations on Google Sheets. So for example, this formula called equal sum of A1 dot A10 adds all the values that are between these two cells, right? So it will make a summary of all the values, and the result would be placed in a different cell other than the ones from A1 to A10. A function is a predetermined formula that performs a specific calculation. So for example, if you want to get the average of a column when there are different numbers in that column, this will allow you to get the average numbers after it takes all the numbers from a column. The count is the summary of all numbers in either a column or a row, and if is conditioning to a formula in the Google Sheets. Some of these things are quite technical, but I hope that you guys have a better understanding, because when you use Google Sheets, likely some of these things will be jumping or coming on, so you would know what this is. So you also have a range. So a range is a selection of 2 or more cells. So if you select multiple cells at one time, that is a range, right? Filter allow you to display only the rows that meet certain criteria. So for example, you can filter by names that start with the A or names that start with the B. Sort is the process of arranging data in order, such as alphabetically or numerically. So you can, again, organize from A to C or C to A, or numerically from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1. It reverses the organization or sequence. A chart is a visual representation of data, such as a bar or pie chart, right? The things that give you visual representation of whatever information you put in there. So for example, if you are talking about the representation of older adults who know about technology and you are doing that by age, you can say, oh, ages 55 to 60 represent 10%, 60 to 70 represent 20%. So a chart will show the percentages of the numbers or information in a Google Sheet. And share is just the action of allowing others to view or edit your Google Sheets document. All right, wow, that is a handful of words. But yeah, this is everything. I know that the best way for you to work on this is to start using Google Sheets, so some of the things we have mentioned make sense. If you would like to learn this lesson with a Cyber Seniors mentor, you can go to our website, www.cyberseniors.org, or call our 844-217-3057 to register for a one-on-one phone session. We also host weekly tech drop-in sessions in Zoom from 2 to 3 p.m. every Tuesdays. This is Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for your time. I will leave this a little bit longer on the screen until Alex tell me otherwise.
Annie.
Yeah.
My question to you, if it's okay. The Google Sheets is very similar to the Excel spreadsheet and also the Quattro Pro, right? Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct.
In Windows, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
All right,
That's
understand.
very simple.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
No problem. All right. Well, I hope that you guys find that helpful. I think in Google Docs, it was less complex things, but I hope that now you guys have a better understanding of Google Sheets. So if you have any question now, feel free to ask them.
Yes, again, thank you so much, Annie, for your presentation today. I was looking at your slides; they're so graphic and visual, and I like the way that you had set it up. It was really well.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, it can be hard, especially when I first learned formulas, and that's more, right? I would definitely utilize the templates in the Google Sheets. I think they're
Yeah.
really good. But yeah, if you find it interesting, yeah, when I learned how to use the formula, it made a lot of things easier.
For sure.
Yeah. So, any questions from the group? I know we've been unmuting, so I think we can still do that. Any other questions about Google Sheets to Annie? But again, you inspire me to get that number session together. So thank you so much.
No problem. I know that this topic is much more technical than Google Docs. And
But,
that's what yeah.
It's all about experimentation. You got to try it. So again, make sure you
Yeah.
download the app, and I shared the link in the chat, or you search it on your app store, whatever device you have, and test a few things out.
Yeah. I mean, No, don't be shy.
I'd just like to
Yeah.
thank you. I use Excel,
Yeah,
so it's very similar to that.
Mhm. It is.
But you brought some things back to my brain, but I do use that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
I use yeah.
I think
Go ahead.
if I were to use it, I wouldn't start with create a sheet. I'm like Alex. I would start with one that's already populated.
Yep.
What did you call that one? One of those
Templates.
Yeah. I would start with that.
Yeah, I will do the same, and that's likely what I do.
Yeah.
Because Excel, unlike Google Docs, is much more complex. So
Yeah.
if you want to insert formulas and you want to work columns and rows and like add graphics, is worksome. Yes.
Yeah, that's the same. Isn't it the same like Lotus 1, 2, 3?
Mm-hmm. It's similar. Yeah, it is similar. Yes.
Spreadsheet apps.
I'm
There we-
definitely gonna have to go over your program again, God, because I was a little confused on a couple of things. But
That's why we recorded and uploaded on our YouTube.
yeah, so I can look at this again. But thank you, Annie. You always bring good stuff.
I'm glad. This is one of the ones that I know is not that fun because it's very technical. And I just keep thinking, okay, how do I make this more easier? And that's what I did not did a live demo, because if I do a live demo, it gets even more complicated that when
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Oh no, Annie, you did great. And you know,
Oh,
if
yeah.
something new, then you know, it takes a while. It didn't, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So again,
Yeah.
that's again why we upload it, and you can review it and test some things out.
And it's one of those things, right? If you don't see any use in it, you don't need to use it. Like
Right.
one of the things that I can think of in terms of what I will use it, I have used it for budgets before, and it's pretty neat because it showed me how much I spent in a month, and it allowed me to input all the different categories in my expenses. And there is
Yeah.
the one that is called monthly budget, allow you to categorize your expenses, and it allow you to see, right? Sometimes we don't see the budget
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
we are forced to. We won't see it. Yeah.
Or Annie, if you're a secretary for an organization,
Mm-hmm.
then you can put budgets and reflect things graphically.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a position where you have to take notes and share information with other people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I have used it. So when I have big projects at my work, I use it to show the impact that we had in people in graphics. So how many people we reach every month we train, and it will show me numbers, right? Just by inputting names and the numbers, it will give you a graphic. If you have like a sequence of at least 3 different type of information. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is so many things if you work with an organization like Yvonne said, or even if you work with big projects or volunteer with projects, there is a lot of use too. Yeah.
Yes.
But
But sometimes I get information that's designed like that, and I wonder, well, how did they do this? You know, and I
Lots
did
of practice.
realize they have a template. You know, that makes it much easier to do.
yeah.
Not all the time. Some people create those things that you see from scratch. So it's all about practice. You know, I'm still learning a lot. I use it every single day, but you're still you know, you still learn. Technology is always changing and updating. So you just have to take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to use it to formulate my schedules for my workers.
Yeah.
And the time slots and everything like that. I used to put their names in, but I do it horizontally so their names would be sideways, and it would stretch from a 4-hour span all the way down until it got to 24 hours. I used to do that a lot. And I used to create that from scratch.
Yeah.
And then later, when technology got more useful for me, we had something called When I Work. And that was a already automated schedule. So all I had to do was type in names. That's it.
Yeah.
And they can access it remotely. So I didn't have to do that schedule every week.
Yeah, that must have been painful because I know that scheduling, if I
Scheduling
think
sucks.
scheduling in Google Sheets, it does because there is a lot of formulas you will have to use to be able to track the hours.
Yeah, I used to do it all and I used to put, I had 58 employees. So
Okay.
it was horrible. It was horrible. And then my boss would want them, can you get the schedule done every week? Oh, sure. Why not?
Wow.
Yeah.
But some people actually still pay payroll with Google Sheet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they calculate the base salary and the commissions and the taxes, and I say, okay, good luck making it as accurate as possible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, each app has its own use and strength, so they made two different apps or programs can do the same thing. It's just what is just most efficient is what you find. So, there are
Yeah.
tons of other apps like Google Sheets. It's just what you like or what you're comfortable with. That's going to be different for everyone. But anything it takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. All right. Any questions? Final comments? We
Good
are so
class.
quiet.
Good class, Annie. A very good class.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you
if
for
it
listening.
motivates you to come next week, Alex, you have given them the topic for August already?
No, you got to keep checking your emails, but we have for August and September, it's really, really fun. So make sure you guys show up and show out for those.
Yeah, it won't be as technical as today, I promise.
There will be lots of learning like today. It was great. Fun. Technical is fun for us because we're tech minded folks. So it was fun.
It is. I'm sorry, because I like my brain to be challenged. And so I really, really like this because when I was learning Excel, I did it on my own. So it was a lot of trial and error, but I succeeded. So I love this. So thank you.
I'm glad. Yeah.
Thank you for your kind words,
Annie.
Mr.
For some reason, I feel like I fell short because I wanted to do more, but yeah.
No. You did great, Annie. We appreciate it so much.
You did good, and you explained it in layman's terms.
Thank you.
Alrighty, I will let you go now, guys, if you don't have any questions, and I will see you next month.
Yes. Thank you so much, Annie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everybody. Take
so
care.
much. Come again.
Bye-bye.
I'll call and learn
Have
more
a
on
great
that.
Take
weekend.
care. Thank you, Alex.
I'm gonna call the office to learn some more.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Take care.
Bye,
Annie.
Annie.
Bye.
Bye.
Wonderful
Bye.
day,
Bye,
Annie.
everybody. Bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Enjoy your weekend. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to go and start our poll.